Going to out of being a very good founder, saying that the forward-looking statements, everything that we're about to talk about, are things that we intend to do. We're certainly very hopeful and we believe that we're going to be able to execute. But like anything from an investor standpoint, actual forward results and future events can't be predicted. And so we just want to kind of give that as a quick shout out. I'm going to start though with something that I think we can all identify with.
No, 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 that'll never work. No, no, probably not.
We've all heard no far too often. So when it comes to funding and capital, our ecosystem's inefficient, it's disconnected, it's hard to navigate. The reality is that 90% of our entrepreneurs are building small companies, but our ecosystem's built for scale-ups, pursuing billion-dollar valuations. There is an irony, however, that 90% of accredited investors would rather invest in businesses and industries they understand, with business models that actually make sense to them, rather than chase unicorns. But currently, they don't have access to these entrepreneurs. So there's a fundamental mismatch currently in the marketplace. What that is basically causing is 80% of our businesses are struggling to find the funding and the capital that they need to grow. Most of these happen to be underestimated. And this is due to race, this is due to age, this is due to geography, industry, gender. And what it's resulting is a general lack of access to funding, lenders. There is also a huge amount of lack of financial literacy. This is causing a lot of lengthy fundraising timelines, higher cost of capital than really is needed, general misalignment with the investors, and an inability to meet the criteria often of lenders. So what's the solution to this? For us, it's eQuo. So eQuo is changing the ecosystem. We're building the first inclusive matchmaking platform that connects small businesses with investors, capital, customers, and talent. With eQuo, entrepreneurs get access to the support they need to grow, while accredited and retail investors get access to great small businesses. So our goal is founders can start to hear yes from the investors and the capital providers that they need to grow. How does eQuo work? eQuo is going to be the first global distributed marketplace. And we have recommendation engines that are based on data tagging, natural language tokens, and AI. What they do is they discover what entrepreneurs need, but then they match them to investors, lender, and capital providers based on an aligned criteria and mutual fit. So what we're doing is we're getting rid of the fire hose effect on all sides, where people are just wasting time because they're talking with people where the match just was never there from the beginning. So what this allows for is greater deal flow. And because we're adding accredited investors who aren't part of the traditional ecosystem, that 90% who aren't attached to any of the existing angel networks or any corresponding network, and we're adding alternative fintech. So we're creating more opportunities to find capital that entrepreneurs are really looking for. And so collectively together, we're able to prove that small really is big. So our MVP is going to be launching in the spring, and that focus is going to be initially on accredited investors, as well as retail investors who have an opportunity to participate now in private equity due to crowdfund platforms like FrontFunder. And what's interesting in this is 31% of Gen Z and millennials have participated in private equity before the age of 21. So there's a huge untapped market out there right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what our MVP is initially and what you're going to be able to see by the spring.
We set out to make an environment that is in-depth and intuitive, but we also realize that most businesses aren't tech. So we've created eQuo to work for every kind of small to medium business, as well as every kind of funder. Let's take it for a spin. You start by creating your profile and indicating whether you're interested in investing or finding capital. Then you fill out some simple questions that help us and our hardworking algorithms figure out who to match you with. As a business seeking capital, we'll need to know things like your overall financials, what sort of capital you require, and of course, how much and when. Input your founder composition, industries, your work in, and other details indicating what you do. As a capital provider, we'll need to know things like what investments interest you, what type of funding or capital you offer, things like specific industries, types of companies, or are you interested in supporting specific types of founders? Plus, what are the mandatories that you look for in a company? After you've filled out your profile, we run a comprehensive matching process to determine what type of investment or investee will best suit your criteria. Then we let you determine the best matches for you and or your business, all gathered in one search result page showing the options you wanted, plus some that we think you should consider. Our goal is to help SMBs, investors, and capital providers find each other without wasting time, so founders can hear yes from the people and companies that want to fund them. Small investors matter, and so does small business and the capital providers who believe in them. Join us. Together, let's realize the power of small.
So eQuo is going to be a for-profit community, but we have an impact mindset. What that means is we've got multiple revenue drivers. Anybody can join, including on the capital side and the investor side. But we're also creating partnerships with key companies that have been vetted. So for instance, Front Funder is a partner, eCapital is a partner, Dryrun is a partner, Carry is a partner. We have multiple partners where we have relationships with that are based on partnership with a revenue share. And that could be as either a percentage of deal flow, or in the case of lease companies, it could also be lead management fees in terms of leads. What we're also doing as we start to grow and as we build our community. So we're launching with funding and capital first, but then immediately afterwards, we're going to be adding sponsorships. And so we'll also be able to provide sponsorship opportunities for people looking to connect with all of our small businesses. And toward the end of this year, we're looking at bringing additional talent solutions, such as talent pools that start to bring in additional revenue streams there. So our goal, though, is over and above all of the revenue streams, what we're also able to do is start to create a much larger impact by creating a unique enterprise solution for the first time for small business. So what that looks like is what I'm about to show you. eQuo is a very big idea. And this is going to be our 3-year vision that will start to give you an idea of what this community is going to look like 3 years from now.
Welcome to eQuo, an innovation community connecting entrepreneurs to the people and resources they need. Meet Bobby, an entrepreneur starting iGerm, a company reducing hospital-borne infections and saving lives. But before this happens, he needs to test market viability, find advisors, talent, funding, customers, and get feedback to improve the company. So, Bobby uses eQuo to create a playground, a tool that finds key resources to launch and scale concepts, projects, or companies, as well as to get community feedback to increase your chances for success. Bobby placed iGerm in healthcare and added SaaS, social innovation, data mining, and AI as keywords, which is why Bobby's idea showed up in hundreds of people's playground feeds who expressed an interest in healthcare. People like Ria, Jenny, and Hoyen, healthcare professionals who provided feedback for Bobby. Sabrina, a local university student in biotechnology, saw the playground and contacted Bobby for a work placement. Bobby also needs advisors with healthcare and tech experience, which is why Ria applied to iGerm and was officially made an advisor. The playground system also found matches for product managers, full-stack developers, AI engineers, UI, UX talent, and art directors. Bobby was evaluating potential patents, so he looked for experienced IP experts who understood the healthcare category. Wanting to test his market potential, Bobby found several customers looking for healthcare startups that were willing to beta test his product. Needing funding, Bobby finds relevant VCs, angels, and government programs that best fit iGerm. Tatum, who is an advisor for a new grant program developed for the healthcare industry, is notified of iGerm. iGerm appears in Tatum's playground feed, so she contacts Bobby directly to walk him through the program application. iGerm launches, and Bobby turns to the eQuo marketplace to find the best prospects for customers looking for healthcare innovations. And Bobby, he lands several new customers. This allows Bobby to scale faster, but he still needs more funding. After reviewing conventional capital sources, Bobby decides to crowdfund $500,000. His crowdfunding campaign appears in the feeds of fellow entrepreneurs, students, healthcare professionals, angels, researchers, and anyone who indicated their interest in funding healthcare technology. 75 community members who loved his product and believed in Bobby's mission invested a total of $375,000. Several angel investors, inspired by the traction and feedback from the community, jumped on board and added another $200,000. Bobby is just one story. What will your eQuo story tell?
So that's our long-term vision. And our team has the brand, marketing, data, operational, and technical experience in order to actually build this community. We're very much focused on diversity. And so one of the things that we have been really trying to build out are a collective team where we're building the company very differently than a lot of traditional infrastructures. We've got a talent plan that includes advisors that aren't your typical advisors. All of our advisors are actually working in our ecosystem in basically 6-week sprints, where they're focused on helping us not just to align our value system, but we have people like, for instance, Kevin Stolarick, who was the original research director for the Martin Prosperity Institute. And he's working very closely with Hesi Jones, who is involved as chief of staff of Beacon, which is data and privacy. They're leading our Equal Research Council. So we've got a very active team across the board, but we also want to ensure that we've got a diverse team to represent various different perspectives, whether it's from LGBTQ, whether it is from Black communities, Indigenous communities. But every single person here are highly accomplished individuals who really understand the problem. More important, they want to be part of this solution. So Simon Sinek started a movement to help people basically become more inspired at work and in turn inspire their colleagues and their customers. And he called this idea the golden circle, which started with understanding your why. So our why for eQuo, I hope, is clear. We're supporting underestimated founders, investors, and talent so they can fill a key gap in the ecosystem and change the world by realizing the potential of small business to become big. But why you should invest is important too. And we're looking at a company that will have tremendous impact, but we're also looking at something that has the capacity of reaching, just in Canada, 1.2 million entrepreneurs. We have 1 million accredited investors, 24 million retail investors. Globally, that's 583 million small businesses. And corresponding, a very, very large group of investors and retail investors who are looking to tap into that private equity market. With that comes expanding partnerships nationally as well as globally. So our goal as we expand beyond Canada, and this is meant to be a global platform, is a future IPO. And along the way, we are looking at building real profit through an actual business model that has multiple revenue streams. Why are people investing? If we take a look at Peggy Van der Valk, now she is principal of Roar VC, and she had invested because she felt that supporting SMBs is vital to our economy, our society, and our communities. Millions of Canadian families depend on SMBs. And if we want to enjoy a thriving ecosystem, it's important to show support and solidarity. We also have Hesi Jones. So she is also an investor, and she's with Matter Ventures as well as Beacon. eQuo fills the gap when it comes to democratizing investment access to all Canadians, while creating the necessary support to all entrepreneurs, from networks to critical matches for talent and market opportunities. I love that eQuo considers all entrepreneurs, not just startup tech. And we've got Vinu Sripada. Many entrepreneurs struggle to get traction. When their big idea doesn't find the support and attention that they could get, most VCs want to venture only to those startups that have traction. But there are a lot of supporters who can invest in lower amounts, but their total numbers, they add huge value to the entrepreneurial world. eQuo is leveraging that market. So I'm going to turn this over to Payvand. Payvand is an advisor. He's an investor. He is part of the Archangel network of funds and a serial entrepreneur. He's also somebody that truly, truly cares about this ecosystem. So, Payvand, I just want to pass over to you in terms of why you invested and why are you involved with eQuo.
I think thanks, Barry. I think it's a huge need in the ecosystem for such a platform. Most of the entrepreneurs, and I'm being one of them. When I started my business, if I had access to first business, I should say, access to an ecosystem like eQuo, I'm sure that would have been a lot more successful, the ventures that I started. One example that I can give to you is a company that we invested just before COVID in through Archangel Network of Fund, and during the COVID they've done a pivot and go from figuring out basically or tracking kids in a pool, which was their AI software, to tracking people in the warehouses and doing visitor management for large enterprises that they needed for after COVID. So all of a sudden they have a huge contract in their hand. A company with $100,000 traction had a $6 million contract in their hand from Walmart, which they could not get any bank to give them the initial costs that they needed, because they needed to develop some hardware, basically kiosks and cameras and what have you that they needed. They couldn't find anybody. Really, if it was not because of the advisors to give them this, direction and basically the network of the advisors to provide them, they would have failed for sure. So for the people that they're not fortunate to have that network, eQuo would be perfect solution.
What's scary about that is we've got a new advisor, Giancarlo Sessa, who's part of Blade Filtration System that Payvand also knows that company. They have a very similar situation. They went from 5-figure income to 6-figure income, and then they landed a $10 million government contract. And it was exactly what just happened to that previous company. So a big reason why, we want to really build off on eQuo is small entrepreneurs matter. And so do small investors and the capital providers who support small. So when you add them all up, small really is big.